Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
I'm David Thomas.
And I'm Melissa Trevathan.
And we're so glad you've set aside a few minutes to spend with us today. In each episode of this podcast, we'll share some of what we're learning in the work we do with kids and families on a daily basis at Daystar Counseling in Nashville, Tennessee. Our goal is to help you care for the kids in your life with a little more understanding, a little more practical help, and a whole lot of hope. So pull up a chair and join us on this journey from our little yellow house to yours. Ben Rector is a singer, songwriter, and record producer based in our hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. Ben has released 7 albums and has had several songs appear in TV shows, not to mention all the times he's performed live on TV. We are so excited to be chatting with Ben and his delightful wife and college sweetheart, Hillary, about their life together, their family, and the joy Ben shares through music. And we might just call the Hogs.
We are thankful and excited just to even start out with you all telling us a little bit about your family, which is super fun for me because we have this very similar dynamic going on of 21 years ago, my wife and I got the enormous surprise at an ultrasound that we were having twins. And we had an almost 2-year-old at the time girl.
Who is in the room.
Who is in the room right now.
One of the most delightful people I know.
It's just so fun. So let's talk about the similar dynamic.
Wait,
and your
when did
discovery.
y'all figure out that y'all had the same?
You know, I think you wrote us that note when, and when we got a copy of your book. And I had heard you speak before I had twins. You're not quite as aware, your filter for who has twins until you have them. So then I thought, oh yeah, he does have twins. But I had forgotten the family was the exact same setup.
So we have Jane is 5.5, and the boys, Roy and Bert, are 2.5. So we're just barely coming out of, I don't know what you call it. We're like coming up for air, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're adorable.
Yeah, they're great. They really are.
They're all really sweet. They're all really sweet kids, and they're really fun. They're fun to be around, and they're really busy. Increasingly.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are. And you just never forget where you were standing when you heard the news that twin boys were coming to you.
Yeah.
That's right.
What was
Never
that
forget
like
that
for
moment.
y'all?
I think, you should
Well,
probably.
it's funny, in the ultrasound, we both had separately thought, this seems different, is Hillary having twins, and we had not shared that with each other. This is like, just very early few weeks in, and then our doctor, who we love, said, oh, and over here, and I thought, oh, well, this is how they tell you. They say, oh, and over here is another one. I just thought, it's like there was this, I was just going, I guess this is how this happens,
Yeah.
And we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh.
We're like, okay.
All
right. But no, there's no like family history of that.
Really? Yeah.
No.
Oh no, it was a total fluke.
Same.
It was a
Yeah, it's all
total
totally
fluke.
random.
Yeah,
Wild.
nothing was going on that would have made us think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then what's funny, I hope this is fine to say because we love boys, but we didn't find out if they were boys or girls beforehand. We had done the same thing with Jane.
Which I was not super excited about.
But
and I was like, I really would like to find out. And Hillary was pretty much like, I think I get like 51% of the vote on this. And I was like, fair.
Well, but you know what's funny is when it was twins, though, we had a little more like, should we? And Ben said, maybe not, because if it's 2 boys, that's really going to stress me out.
Yeah. And I was like, if I know right now that it's 2 boys, I'm just going to spend the next however many months being like, oh man, this is going to be crazy. I was like, I'd rather just not know and be surprised. Yeah. And then it was 2 boys. And it honestly has turned out to be really wonderful.
It's been the perfect little concoction of people for our family. But it is so funny because, I laughed and thinking about in the delivery room, him saying, it's a boy. It's another boy. I'm like, well, there you go. That's the news we were looking to not ponder until it was happening.
We love you, Roy and Bert.
Yes, so happy you're here. No, they're all really great kids. And Jane has, I feel like, taken having twins, come into her world in stride. Yeah. And she holds her own
She's doing great.
pretty well anyway. So it's been fun. It's been really fun.
Well, I will sure say, you won't say, I don't think, but I would say watching Lily and the boys grow up, the relationship the 3 of them have is amazing.
That's so encouraging to hear.
The
I love
way
hearing
that you have shepherded those boys in a lot of ways. I have heard stories of I hope I can say this out loud. Lily coaching the boys on how to ask girls to things, talking to them about how to conduct themselves at dances.
So sweet.
I mean, she has guided those boys, and they adore each other. And then the boys, I mean, are they still living together next year?
Yeah. They're roommates in college.
That's so cool.
They're best friends. The first time they were apart for any length of time was when Baker worked with us this summer.
Wow.
Oh, how interesting.
And it was the first time they'd been apart for more than
a week.
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah. They're
That's
super
amazing.
tight.
That's so cool.
funny.
Great friends.
That's awesome.
I love
Yes.
hearing that. I love hearing that. So that's
It's
neat.
yeah.
neatest dynamic.
One of our funniest moments I have to tell to compare this dynamic is they were freshmen in high school, and their school, like a lot of schools, does like homecoming in the fall, coming home in the spring, where girls ask boys to a dance in the spring.
Oh, yeah,
and so
that's fun.
my wife got this text from another mom like, hey, some girls are going to come over and ask them to the dance, and just to give you a heads up kind of thing. And Lily gets word of this. And they look like teenage boys look afterwards, just half dressed, hair not combed, all the things at this point. And she looks at us and she's like, are you all okay with this? Like them looking like this when girls show up here? And she immediately like kicked into gear. She was like, I'm not okay with this. She's like, you need to comb your hair. You need to change your shirt. Like she immediately started
She's orchestrating. I like
clean
that.
up
I
your
like
act,
that.
fellas.
Yeah.
It was
that's
fantastic.
sweet.
She's
Sweet.
lived into that in a lot of moments of life, coaching them
fun.
toward some things they might have missed and needed to see.
It's good
That's
to have
awesome.
a big sister around.
It
you.
is a gift to have a big sister around.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not
That's
fun.
awesome.
Just picture them one of these days.
Yes,
doing
I know.
all of that.
I love that. That's a good story.
Well, I share something fun in common with you all. Obviously, although it wasn't fun for us recently when we got together to watch
Occasionally
Yes.
fun.
yes, football with Kathleen and Aaron, but the Hogs.
Yes, go
Just
go
so
Hogs.
fun.
Go
With
big.
Pig Suey.
I think that's the first thing I ever heard about you. I hadn't heard any of your music, and somebody said, "Have you heard Ben Rector? He went to Fayetteville." And they're so excited.
That's funny.
awesome.
That's awesome.
And in the beginning, didn't you have people call the Hogs?
Well, so
At concerts?
actually, they called the Hogs for me.
No.
Right out of college, anytime there was like a Razorback fan in the crowd, I would be in whatever city and someone would be like, let's call those Hogs. And they'd start
Yeah.
doing it.
Oh, that's
and
so
if you're close to
cool.
Arkansas, it's totally fine. But if you're in like, I don't know, like Minneapolis,
yeah, they don't.
and I
know
always
as
would
much.
feel bad because at first I would kind of do it, and then after a while I was like, I can't do this because like it's kind of a long thing and nobody else knows what's going on. But yeah, at first
It is
people
kind
would
of
kind of
long.
spontaneously do that.
You have to commit to the cheer.
You really do.
It's so long.
Yeah.
It's so long. It's
So
not
that's-
quick.
that
Yeah.
used to happen like fairly regularly, but I feel like it doesn't happen as much anymore.
Okay.
Not that I'm out on it. I just
No,
always
no,
I
because
feel-
you
I
have a
feel bad.
song for the Razorbacks, don't you?
Yeah, it was so yes. Sorry, I was just imagining this. The last time that I called the Hogs legitimately, like if I'm in Fayetteville or Arkansas, like that happens.
Sure,
We're playing
of
Little
course.
Rock in a couple weeks, and
I
like
know my dad's
no
coming.
doubt.
He's so excited.
Oh,
Well,
that's so sweet.
Tell him to prep to call the Hogs.
Okay,
I'm sure
okay,
I'm going to.
okay.
And that's an environment where I'll be like
That's
100%.
fun,
Let's
of
do
yeah.
this.
course.
But anytime outside of there, I'm like, maybe
It's
not.
long.
Which
Yeah.
I feel bad, but yeah.
Well, I don't know that I've ever asked y'all the story of how you both ended up there because Texas and Oklahoma,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Right.
So how did y'all end up there and did you meet there?
We
Yeah.
did. We met freshman year.
That's where we
You wanna
met.
You really?
go?
You want me? Yeah, I can. I ended up there. I had applied to like 9 schools, which is a terrible idea if you can't make decisions. But I had a couple. I was involved in like a youth group in my hometown called K-Life, and a couple of my K-Life leaders were Arkansas grads. And then 2 older people from my school had gone there and were loving it, and so I had just kind of thrown in the application in the pile. And it was not till late, like spring of my senior year, my dad and I went to visit and just loved it. Loved
Oh,
Fayetteville. The
yes.
people were so great. The
Yes.
school's so great. And it's a beautiful place and campus. And so I just decided to go. I'd grown up, in the same town my whole life. And I felt dead set on like, I just want to go do something. And so that's how I ended up there. You want to say hi?
I did not apply to as many schools, and my sister had gone to Arkansas. It's very close to Tulsa. It's probably like
Yeah.
an hour and a half, an hour and 40
Yes.
minutes.
Mhm.
And they ended up giving me a good scholarship, better than the other schools. And I was like, I'm going to go to Arkansas. And which is funny because I feel like I'm not like that about anything else.
I know.
But I was, for whatever reason, not very
That sounds like
stressed.
such a easy process.
I know, it sounds great. I wish I could retain some of that in my life.
But that is where we met. So we lived in the same dorm.
Which one?
Pomfret.
Okay.
Yeah, down at the bottom of the big hill.
Okay.
And Ben, we met just because we had like mutual friends, but then Ben had a crush on my roommate. He started coming around.
Always, and I feel like occasionally I'll do like a Q&A and people will be like, how'd you and Hillary meet? And I'm always like, I had a crush on a roommate. And everyone's like, oh.
I'm like, no, she was the maid of honor in our wedding.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It
wasn't weird.
It wasn't like it wasn't really a thing. But everybody was hanging out in the dorm, and then I met Hillary, and I was like, oh, actually.
And I had a closer parking pass, than Ben.
Yeah.
And so he would kind of call me like, can you pick me up from wherever? I mean, that was like kind of one of our very smooth ways we started hanging out. But met in the dorm, like fall of freshman year, really early.
Wow.
So yeah.
And dated all through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very boring story.
after that.
Yeah, it's just that's it. That's the most interesting part. Yeah.
Yep.
We got married and moved to Nashville and graduated like all in about a month after school.
I mean,
y'all
that
moved
is
here
wild.
that soon?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
2009, yeah.
I don't
Wow.
know who.
I know who let us do that. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. But that's what we did.
Yeah.
It seemed like it made sense at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's been
Do y'all
good.
know in 30 years of counseling kids, I've had one kid that I knew that went to University of Arkansas.
Really?
from here.
Really?
Yes, and I always try and talk him into it.
I
I'm like,
know.
y'all, it's an amazing school.
I
It's
know.
beautiful.
It is
I'm
beautiful.
sorry. I went to Knoxville for the first time and thought this is going to be like Fayetteville. It's in the mountains. No,
It's not. It's not
no.
really.
Fayetteville,
It's
and
just
Fayetteville's
gorgeous.
a great town.
It's
a
great town.
It's like so many
That's
fun
surprising.
local things to do, and
No,
it's a
I
good
keep
spot.
wanting us to go speak there because David needs to see it. He's never been.
I know, but I hear it's
Surely
amazing.
we can hook you up with
Take-
someone who can have you
This-
speak.
Take this as a pitch to go
Yes.
to Arkansas. It's
This
great.
is the paid
A wonderful
promotional
place.
ad for
Arkansas.
University of Arkansas.
we are,
That's right.
we are
Yeah.
selling the school
Yeah.
right now.
It's,
This moment. I
great.
feel it
It's a
happening.
good
Great
place.
school.
It's so many great
Yeah.
people there, and it's a good place.
We're bad at sports.
Yeah, you
but it's
will
okay.
live a life of heartache in the
We're-
sports
we're okay
front.
sometimes.
We were good when I was there.
Yeah.
And y'all, I'll just tell this story really quickly because y'all are dear friends of Kathleen and Erin, my sister. But I was deciding between UT Texas, what I consider UT,
Yes, yeah.
and University of Arkansas, and Kathleen was 2.
Oh,
and my only sibling. And I
yeah.
just thought, I cannot be that far from her.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go
Yeah.
to Fayetteville so that I could come home. And I came home every Halloween to take her trick-or-treating.
Oh, I love
And-
that.
You know, I just could get home that fast.
Yes,
Yeah.
And so
totally.
it was a great distance.
Yeah.
It's a good school.
A
We
good
won't
call,
call the
good
Hogs
call.
because it's
No.
too
Yeah,
long.
it is
but
too long. Yeah, yeah.
Go Google it.
If
because
you
it's a cool
need to,
cheer.
you three, though, I'm going to stand back and let that happen.
No,
if
it's
that's how we
fine.
need to end the podcast, let me know.
Maybe we could dub in like a
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
an
kind of
example.
Or
audio.
we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
record
yeah.
it. They could edit it out. You know,
Yeah.
whatever.
there
You
you go.
go. However you want to do it.
Ben, will you tell us how you got started in music, and even if there's like a favorite moment you have in your career?
So I got started with music late in life. Like I took piano lessons as a kid, quit like every kid, started playing sports, was not especially good. And then when I was probably 16, I like went to a summer camp, Kanakuk, and some of the counselors played guitar. I was like, that's awesome. So maybe I should play guitar. So I started noodling around a little bit and then never sang until I was, I don't know, maybe a freshman in high school. And even then didn't sing. I waited until everyone was out of the house and I would sing alone. And so I played at a talent show, I think maybe my freshman or sophomore year. And it was like, it's a little bit of a cheat code because like nobody knew that I could do that. It would be like if we were good friends and then I could like juggle kind of well. You were like, whoa, like you can do that. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. I was in a high school band, and then in college I started touring. But it definitely wasn't something. Yeah, it definitely wasn't something that I was always. If you had told me at like 13, you're going to be a musician, I'd be like, doing what? Like, what are you talking about? So unexpected. Nobody in my family is involved in a creative profession in any way. So it was definitely a little bit out of left field for everyone. My parents were not super stoked, which I totally understand. Yeah, so that's how I started. Favorite memory, there was one time early on in my touring that me and a friend, Drew Holcomb, were doing a tour together. And I don't know how this happened. It was outside of Auburn, and there wasn't a good venue for us to play. And through some connection that he had, someone had like some land outside of Auburn, and they were like, you could play on this land. And we were like, that's great, let's do it. And charge whatever, $10. So we drove out there, and immediately we were like crestfallen because it was very hard to get to. You had to go down several dirt roads. There was not cell service. And this was in the days of like Facebook events. So I think we had put the address and maybe directions, and we were just like, man. And we paid for the sound equipment to come out there, and we were like, this is going to be really bad. Like, nobody is going to come. We didn't have a ton of touring history in Auburn, and we were like, well, let's just take this one on the chin. Better luck next time. And so we're sitting in this guy's house. That was the green room. And we're just like, well, let's go. I think, it was getting close to when people would maybe be getting there. And we were like, let's go walk up the hill and see if anybody's here. So we walk up the hill, and it was like Field of Dreams, like into the distance. There was like snaking headlights forever. And we were just like, what? And so I think taking risks is difficult for me. I've like had to learn how to do that. And so that was a cool sort of memory for me to be like, we did maybe an ill-advised thing by playing on this farm, but then a bunch of people showed up, and it was really cool. So that was probably my most exceeded expectations so far. But yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
That's so
it was cool. It was really fun.
That's cool to picture.
Yeah.
David, you never go anywhere without a water bottle in your hand.
Just trying to stay hydrated.
Or a coffee mug in your hand.
Just trying to stay caffeinated.
The point being, we are thrilled to discover Simple Modern. They are the fast-growing company that is one of the top drinkware providers to Target, Walmart, and Amazon. You've probably seen their 40-ounce Trek tumbler with handle on social media.
Or in my hand. They are the perfect brand for everything you need for summer.
They also have everything you need for back to school with backpacks, drinkware, lunch bags, etc. And all your favorite designs and partners like Disney, Marvel, and more.
And how happy are your nephews about the Disney Marvel situation?
We are all very happy about that.
Maybe the best part is that they give 10% of profits to nonprofits that are committed to causes like solving the water crisis, fighting human trafficking, education, ending homelessness, and helping underprivileged communities.
Simple Modern sent us another gift. I got the wine tumbler. What'd you get?
I got a cocktail shaker and made some summer drinks recently, and they were impressive, if I do say so myself.
Go to www.simplemodern.com/RBG, and by sharing your email, you'll get a unique discount code just for you, or bundle and save for back to school. This should be your go-to brand for your family.
Okay, Sissy, we were just talking about Disney. And did I ever tell you the tragic story of our first trip?
No, what happened?
Well, Disney was great, but after the first full day, we made a stop to get an ice cream sundae. And on the ride home, Lily lost that ice cream sundae all over our SUV. It's one of those stories that resurfaces from time to time, like, remember the time when?
Can you imagine if you'd had Relief Band?
Oh, it would have saved me hours in the hotel parking lot cleaning out throw up in the dark.
Oh, Relief Band is the #1 FDA-cleared anti-nausea wristband that has been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and so much more.
Every parent should have Relief Band on hand or in their first aid kit when anyone in the family gets nauseous or when boarding some of the roller coasters we all ride at theme parks. The peace of mind Relief Band provides makes it worth every penny.
Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea and uses technology that works with your body, so it's safe, drug-free, and has 0 side effects. It's that simple.
Plus, Relief Band both treats and prevents nausea, so you can help stop nausea from becoming a problem in the first place. It's a must-have for every road trip.
So if you always have a flashlight on hand for a blackout or a first aid kit on hand for emergencies, then you need a Relief Band for those unexpected nausea moments. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Raising Boys and Girls listeners.
If you go to reliefband.com and use promo code RBG, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com and use our promo code RBG for 20% off plus free shipping.
Well, so that's interesting that you started touring when you were in Fayetteville, because that means y'all's whole life together, pretty much. You've been touring.
Yeah. It
Wow.
has never been we've never known life together without him being in and
on
out
the
traveling.
road.
And which in a lot of ways is a gift, because it's never been like a shock or like, wait, what are you going to try to do? It's kind of always been a part of what we have done.
I feel like we were both like nervous about that because it's not what either one of us grew up with.
Right. Both of our parents have real traditional schedules and routines.
Yeah. I remember trying to call musicians from Nashville when we were going to move here and being like, can I do this? Like, how does this work? Are you married? Like, what's going to happen? Yeah, I think we were both really nervous about that. And then I think we immediately realized, we're like, oh, this has always been a part of our life. And to be fair, I'm not like looking to be gone a ton. Like, I try to like dial that back as much as I can. So there's definitely been times where we're like, oh, this was a lot. Let's not do that again. But I feel like as a joint effort, we're trying to like make that a part of our life, not our life. You know what I mean?
Well, because we're in the same neighborhood, and our neighborhood, especially y'all's part of it, is so active with kids.
Right.
I mean, I feel like every time everyone's out because there's snow or trick-or-treating, you're there.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, yes. But obviously you're gone some too, and you're single momming it some. And when y'all were at Fayetteville, that felt really different than three small children at home.
Right.
And you seem, from being a peripheral friend, you seem to balance it really well.
Well, that's very kind and possibly a generous overestimation of what I do.
I feel like you do incredibly with that. And I think anybody that ever asks, like, how do you guys do it? I'm always just like, because of Hillary. Like, that's why. I feel like you would have every reason to be like, this stinks. I don't want to do this. And instead, you're wonderful about it. So.
Well, that's very kind. Yeah.
Well, and you just are, I mean, I think every time Kathleen and Aaron have an event with friends, I'm always hopeful you're there, because you're just one of my favorite people to talk to. Wow. You're so kind and gracious and lovely and seem very balanced.
Well, that's very sweet. And I always am, selfishly hoping I'll get to see you.
We kind of find each other.
Those things. But and I think, Ben, like he said, he does a great job. And increasingly, since we've had kids, he's not trying to be gone the maximum amount of time. And I really do think Nashville, one of the great things, there's so many great things, as we all know, about this place. And one of them for us is that you're not the only person doing this travel job. It doesn't feel like, wait, why is your husband not at church with you? Why is he not at this Christmas? Why are you here by yourself? And I think even before we had kids, it was comforting to know I'm not the only one doing it. And even if there's people who they're not living that spouse traveling life themselves, they're not as unfamiliar with it as I think I would have been in my hometown or something.
Right.
And I think that's helpful. And I think too, I heard, early on in living here, someone say, if you have a spouse that travels, if you're the person at home, you should try to keep doing all the things you do if they were here. Don't stop doing. And I'm probably have that bent anyway. I like to be out and about and be with people. But I think I've kind of tried to keep that in mind, even now having the kids too, when it's logistically possible with two 2-year-olds, but to try to go, okay, we're going to go to whatever, Sunday morning church. We're going to go to this birthday party. We're going to keep up our life at home so that when he gets to come back home, there's a life going on for him to jump back into, and that we're not, no offense to you, on pause totally, every time he's in and out. Obviously it's the best case scenario when we're all together, and that feels the most full and fun. But I think wanting to help the kids to know, hey, we're still have fun, we're still gonna be fine, and participate in our life and our community, and hopefully keep building that even when he's in a travel season. So Nashville has been of all the places, it's a really supportive, easy place to try to make that happen, which I am super thankful for. So,
Love that. Ben, you have written and recorded a lot of songs and amazing songs, and just would love to ask you both, do you have a favorite song?
I think the one I get most excited to play is probably The Men That Drive Me Places. Mm-hmm. It's funny also, at a Q&A, someone was like, what's Hillary's favorite song of yours? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like in a great way,
yeah.
I feel like you've never been like, I mean this in a positive way. You've never been like overly excited about my job. I feel like you would be equally excited if I was like, I'm an accountant or whatever. But yeah, I think people occasionally will think like, Hillary probably loves this. I'm like, I think she likes it an average amount. You know?
No, I do. I like your music. I listen to it by choice.
I know you do. I know you do. I'm not. There's no subtext.
I know what you mean. No.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No. I feel. I mean, I do enjoy Ben's music. I'm so thankful he plays the kind of music that I like.
Stinks.
You know.
Yes. If he was like a metal artist, that might be hard to.
That would be rough. Yeah. But no, I really. And I feel really so proud of so many of the songs he's written and like what they say to the world and the way he's putting these pieces of kind of beauty and kindness out that makes me feel so proud. And I have a lot of favorites. I think on the last record, this most recent record you made, Thank You, was maybe my favorite. I love that one of just, I don't know, life is wild and always feels like grounding to be like, oh yeah, I can just like take a breath and be thankful for what's right in front of me, big, small, in between. I like that one a lot. I listen to that on repeat in my car, you know? So
That's
awesome. But yeah, no, but it's fun now to have like the bros, they kind of get it. If we play his song, they know it's him. They'll say daddy, but Jane for sure wants to listen to certain songs.
I have to dial Jane
that's
back.
Fun.
She's like, can we listen to daddy music? And I'm just like, no, we gotta listen to something else.
That would be so hard, I would think, in your car.
I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I'm almost just like, we got to broaden your tastes a little bit.
Yeah.
She, for a while, like before the records have been done, I have to listen to mixes. And so she'll get to know the songs and then she like just wants to listen to that. So I'm just like, we got to listen to some other stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a question that would be interesting to hear you answer, because as ones, we both would say, like, I have never watched myself on any kind of TV. I've never listened to this podcast because I don't want to hear my own
that's
voice.
Hilarious.
And
that's hilarious.
Aren't you the exact same? Like, we'll just shred ourselves if we listen to it. What is that like? Because you do have to listen as a one.
I think, I mean, people will joke about like, oh, I hate the sound of my own voice, whatever. I've heard that so much that like, I have to do that part.
Right.
I don't love watching like, we did a live stream from the Ryman or we did anything like that. I don't love watching that. Like there's been TV performances of mine that I have not watched because I'm just like, I don't know.
I'll have like saved the recording on the DVR and it's there for like a year and Ben's like, I'm good.
I think I am pretty like intimately involved with like the recording process, so like I'm in the weeds there, and that doesn't bother me. It's very hard for me to feel like I've done a good job, but like that part isn't weird. But if I don't have to be like, if I don't have to watch the whole Ryman live, like I probably will never watch that whole thing, just because I'll be like, I don't know. But as far as like the recorded side of it, that's just like a thing that I have to do, and that I've done it enough that I'm not like, this is weird, it stinks. It's more just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Definitely hard for me to be like, thumbs up, great job. You know?
Yes.
Not an easy thing.
Yeah. Well, so this season of our podcast, we're talking about raising emotionally strong and worry-free kids. You know, David has a book called Raising Emotionally Strong Boys. If y'all don't have that, we need to give that to y'all.
We do.
And strong and smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're set. I mean, y'all are so generous and kind. Yeah. It's very
Oh, good. You already did it. Okay, good. So if you each had a story that has been really defining for you from your growing up and helped you become who you are, what would your story be?
You want me to go?
Yeah. I'm still thinking of mine.
I think it's probably kind of a combination of a lot of individual stories, but my family growing up had a really wonderful group of family friends and just kind of a small, tight-knit community. And I have so many, just the sum total of the memories I have with those adults, those kids, those families, whether it's summer dinner by a swimming pool, or a weekend trip to Dallas or something, or Mexican food after basketball games. I have just this huge, encyclopedia of those kind of memories. And as I've gotten older, I mean, those were fun in the moment. When I was a kid, it was fun. And as I've gotten older, it continues to be a gift. I mean, those people are still important in my life, my brothers, and my parents' lives. But I think just the sense of security and kind of heldness, and the kind of both deep and wide net almost that created for me as a kid.
It's a great description.
Yes, I know that's not one specific anecdote, but I think that really has impacted how I think about the world I want to try to create for our kids, and the people I want to have in their lives, and probably how I try to think about community here in Nashville is really informed by this really wonderful example I had of it growing up. I think that shapes a lot of how I think about our family.
That was good.
Sorry, I don't mean
I think mine, I thought about this. I feel like there's a ton of like fun memories. This one is like not like fun, like, but I think it was a well done thing by my dad. There was I don't remember exactly the setup, but I think somehow they'd been like, we had ice cream in the freezer, and I think they were like, hey, like no more ice cream tonight. And I was like, okay. And they went to bed, and I got more ice cream. And my dad found out, and instead of being like, I wasn't like, it wasn't like punishment or whatever. He was like, here's what I want you to do. He was like, I want you to write out the definition of integrity. And let's read it together. And I just remember like in the moment, I was like, oh, dang it. But I think looking back on that, it would have been easy as a parent to just be like, why did you do that? Like, don't disobey me. Instead, it was kind of more like, hey, like, you're a smart kid. You've got this. Come on. Like, and I think it was almost like he was like still like believing in me. And he wasn't like, all right, I'm just going to punish you. He was just kind of like, hey, like, this is what integrity means. That's how we do stuff here. It's like, that's a great play by him. Instead of like me being like in trouble or whatever, he was just more like, hey, like, you're not even like you're better than this. Just kind of like, we do stuff with integrity. Let's look at this. And I thought that was like a great way to handle that. And it's something I still, not the ice cream specifically, but that kind of thing is, I think it was formative for me was knowing that like his belief in me of being like, hey, like, you've got this was a helpful thing.
Love
Thank
that
you
story.
both.
Yeah.
Thank you. Building on that, what would you both say are maybe some things that help your kids become more emotionally strong or more worry-free?
And I feel like we're still, I don't know if we have any advice to give in this regard because our kids are so small. I think about Jane. There was, in her old house, there was a time a windstorm came through. It was one of those crazy,
you know,
like
that derecho thing that
straight
all
line
the
winds.
trees. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah.
So we were looking out the windows, and I mean, truly, growing up in Oklahoma, lots of crazy weather.
Texas,
It was the craziest weather that I've ever seen. It blew like a ton of trees on our street down, and so we weren't like, oh my gosh, but like when one of the gusts came through, we were like, whoa, let's get away from the windows. And Jane, who can be a little bit prone to being nervous, that was impactful for her. She was like, for a long time after that, she was like, oh, the wind, that's dangerous. And I think my hope is that what I always say to her is like, hey, if mom and dad aren't worried, you don't need to be worried. And I try to like treat her like an adult where like, I'm not like, oh, nothing to see here. I'm just kind of like, let's talk about it. Like, this is a strong house. If you don't see us looking worried, you don't need to be worried. You are safe. We're here to keep you safe, and this is going to be fine. So I think I try to like deal with her directly and treat her like, I mean, not an equal, but like treat her like an intelligent person, but then also be like pretty firm where it's like, hey, like, we're fine, so you're fine. And if we're not fine, we'll let you know. You know what I mean?
Sounds a lot like your dad and the ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of does. Yeah.
You do a super good job of that with them. And that just kind of calm directness. I feel like you do that super well. I think for me, I feel like I'm afraid this will sound a little silly or shallow, but I think I really want our kids to have kind of this storehouse of memories of being able to like have had a lot of fun and be happy. So whether that's little stuff like we're going to sing to this song in the car together, or we're going to, I don't know, recently we made green Rice Krispie treats for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, just little silly things or bigger things when we get the chance to take Jane to go do something special by herself or whatever. I think that fun is really powerful. And I think having kind of a well of happy, safe, secure, fun memories to draw on later in life when things do not always feel like that is a kind of a lasting gift. So I really hope that our kids have fun with us. I hope we can create moments of fun for them. And I hope they see that we care about having fun as grownups and together and individuals. And I just hope that we can give them that piece. I think that in my mind, that helps build that secure home or family or whatever, is like, hey, we're a place where we get to enjoy together in the moments of life that can be enjoyed, you know, and kind of foster their ability to find that and see it. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes.
Sissy, have you had your vitamins today?
I have.
I will confess that sometimes I take Haya vitamins for kids instead of my old man vitamins.
I imagine they do taste better.
They do, and my old man vitamins don't come in a cool bottle.
Henry loved decorating his bottle with the stickers that came with the first order.
Well, that makes two of us.
Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk growing kids should never eat. That's why Haya was created, the pediatrician-approved super-powered chewable vitamin.
While most children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk, yet it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters.
Formulated with the help of nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more.
We've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/RBG. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hayahealth.com/RBG and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
Go to hayahealth.com/RBG and receive 50% off your first order. As the school year quickly approaches, we would like to share with you about one of our partners, Ethos School.
Education is changing, and your child deserves more than a one-size-fits-all experience in their education. As a Christian online school, Ethos understands the responsibility parents feel to ensure their child develops academically, socially, and spiritually.
Maybe your child is currently enrolled in a private or public school that doesn't offer classes such as Biblical Greek, AP Physics, or computer coding. Or maybe you're a homeschool family that's looking for a new curriculum for the upcoming school year. Well, good news.
Ethos partners with parents to shape their children as whole people, offering over 100 relational, high-quality online courses for 4th through 12th grade students, including multiple world languages, math, dual credit and advanced placement options, and weekly time with a live teacher and classmates.
At Ethos, families can choose either a single course or a full course schedule to enroll their child. Visit ethosschool.org/RBG. Ethos is offering to waive your $95 enrollment fee and are offering each of our podcast listeners a complimentary academic counseling session to plan out your child's academic journey.
Ethos online teachers are expert educators, and each one either has or is currently pursuing a graduate degree. No wonder Ethos advanced placement scores soar above national averages. Again, Ethos is waiving that $95 enrollment fee. So visit ethosschool.org/RBG or check out the show notes to plan your child's educational journey with an Ethos academic counselor.
Have you read recently A Tree Grows in Brooklyn?
I read it a few years ago,
Did you?
right when Jane was born.
When you said,
yeah,
have you read? I was just like, yes, she for sure has. Whatever you're about to
I
say.
read it in school. No, I read it in school, but I read it, like about 5 years ago. Yeah.
There is something, and you said something that made me think so much about it. There's this section where I think the grandmother is talking to the mom, and she's talking to her about the importance. I hope this is not get people upset, whatever. No. Sorry if it does, because I like this a lot. Yeah. But that she talks about the importance of believing in Santa Claus and the saints.
Yeah.
And says something about, because when the world becomes too hard to believe in, she needs to have learned to believe in something.
Wow,
right.
That's
bigger
great.
than her.
I love that. I love that.
And talks about Jesus and faith and all those things. But I think that felt like what you were talking about. I mean, I love that. Like these storehouses of memories of fun.
Right.
That they can look back on.
Right. And just that, like, oh, there is goodness that they'll, and when they're, as you said at the beginning, we're all in a time right now where there's something really not good happening. Right. And I think that's inevitable. Different kinds of sadness are inevitable in life. And to go, okay, even when you're there, to remember, I've experienced goodness though, and I know it's still possible. Yes. And I know in some form it will come back. And, I hope we can give them a really strong sense of that. Because we don't know what all they'll encounter in their life, but I hope that they'll know with us they can encounter that security and goodness
and fun.
Yeah,
and so fun. Important.
Yeah.
So looking back on your early years of parenting, what's something you worried? Y'all are still kind of in your early years.
I don't know,
really early years.
Yeah.
What's something you worried about that you wish you hadn't?
I mean, I could probably make a long list.
I know. I think probably that I was supposed to be doing things some perfect right way, that like, oh no, if I miss the boat on how a baby sleeps or eats or, whatever, that I'm going to have messed this up. Or I think realizing that, I don't have to get it perfectly exactly right anytime, probably still haven't, but kind of releasing that, oh no, there's some secret way that I have to study and ask around and discover that is just the exact right thing to do. I wish I hadn't been so worried about that. And I had just been more like, hey, we're here. I've told people who've had new babies after us, when Jane was born and really little, and again, to be clear, we're still in the early years of parenting, I think, but I felt like, it's so new and overwhelming. I'm terrible at being new at anything. This is like the most new thing in the world, to be in charge of another human. But I felt like I was swimming and I wanted a buoy, like to grab onto something that was going to be still. And I was like, you know what? I think what I actually need is an inner tube. And I need to be like, I'm safe in this inner tube, but I'm going to be moving around and floating along. And it's not going to be still and whatever. But I think it took me a while to make that shift, because I was like, I just want a buoy. I just want someone to tell me what to do and hold on to it and it go how I expect. And it's like, oh, that's not what this is like, parenting. It's not, but it's more like, okay, but you can be safe in an inner tube, But I don't know. So I think I wish I had gotten that.
That is a
not
great
worry about
picture.
things about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think just generally internally knowing that so much of it is very important, but it's important in like a broad sense. And it's less, I think it can be easy to focus on the minutia and be like this specific thing. And I think after we had Jane and then we had the twins, I started to kind of realize like the human machine is set up to kind of like work for the most part. And so like, if this is how everyone has gotten here, probably there's some margin for error where it's like, oh, I wish I'd done this differently, but like this is still probably okay. And I think everything can feel so high stakes. And I think that maybe in the big picture, it's high stakes that you're like showing up and doing a good job and whatever, but that like you said, that there's no right way to do like every step. And I think that there's loads of specific advice out there and that maybe that's helpful. But I think for people like us, it's probably more helpful to be like, look at like the trend of the graph, not like each individual plot point.
Yes, so that's a great statement.
Along those lines, is there a statement you wish someone had said to you on the front side of the parenting journey?
I think about this sometimes, like when I see people with like a really small baby. It's always funny, and no one can tell you this, but I wish I could be like, everything feels so hard at that stage, and you're actually like, oh no, like this is still a time when you can kind of do stuff. Like you could take that baby to go out to eat. You could like definitely get on a plane with that baby. You could do whatever you want, but you don't know that until they're old enough to kind of be like wiggling around and not want to do stuff. I think that's like a microcosm of so many things. And I think it would be hard to really deeply know that kind of thing where it's like, oh, you don't need to worry about this. It's not a big deal. But in the moment, you're like, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, it is a huge deal.
So I think like I probably would have wanted to. And I don't think we were like terribly uptight about stuff, but
we didn't like backpack Europe or anything with the 3
and
and now we really can't do that with 2-year-old boys. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure someone very cool and adventurous has done that.
Someone's doing that right now.
We aren't those people. But I think I wish someone had told me. I remember this when we first had Jane, feeling like a lot of things you do in life, whether it's school or work or I don't know, learning to cook or something. You try hard and bring your A game and the graph kind of goes upward and to the right. And you try hard and bring your A game with like a 7-week-old and it's like, I don't know how this day is going to go. And that was kind of a bizarre, like, but I'm trying to do the things so-and-so said to do, or this book said to do. And it's like, yeah, you can be trying. And kind of like Ben said, you can't be measuring even by every day or every hour how it's going. You kind of have to take that step back and go, you know what? I think over the long haul, we're going to try our best to like be here for and with our kids. And hopefully that's enough, but I wish someone told me to let go of that. Like my performance isn't necessarily going to create a certain outcome here. And I need to kind of let go looking for that. And I think we'll keep learning that, or I will at least keep learning that until they're adults probably, but
for sure.
So
y'all have shared so much truth already, and as therapists and kind of in the business of feelings, if that even makes sense, we talk so much about obviously wanting kids to feel and wanting there to be this foundation of truth underneath all the emotional swirl. So would y'all each say one truth that really helps undergird your parenting, that kind of is something that helps you worry less?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I think I have. So when our kids go to bed and we like say a little prayer and I'm not trying to sound sanctimonious. It doesn't happen every night,
Brag about
but
it.
Whatever. This is just what's popping to my head. But on the more sane nights when we get to actually have a little bedtime, at the end of the prayer, I will say, hey, God's with you all the time in every place, and he loves you no matter what, and so do me and Dad. And I think
Can you say that again?
God's with you all the time in every place, and he loves you no matter what, and so do me and Dad. And I think I try to remember that for me. Like that's true of God and me, but that is also true of my kids, to think, okay, God loves these kids more than I do. And that there have been times in life where I feel like I'm reading scripture going, where's the Bible verse that says nothing bad will ever happen to the people you love? It's like that doesn't exist. But I do think even amidst fear or the difficulty obviously that can happen in the world, going, God will be there and he will be loving you. And that is about all I can promise. And somehow that ends up being, enough. And I don't know if that's beautiful. Is the answer to your question.
Yes, it is.
So.
Yes.
I think that my hope is that I would be like a constant in their life or consistent. And I think just that that we could somehow instill in them like resilience and not like confidence in like I'm cool, but just like that they're like worthwhile and able to handle things. And hopefully that our presence being kind of like a buoy in their life would enable them to feel that way.
Okay, you two, we move from the substantive to the silly. We like to end every episode with something fun and food related.
Great.
Okay, that's great.
So 2-part question, queso or guac, and then what's your favorite taco?
You go first.
I go first?
Yeah. I hope you don't steal mine.
Well, I don't know what yours is.
Okay, go.
I'll try not to.
Okay.
No promises. I would probably say that my actual desire is queso. But I'm probably not going to let myself order it that much because it's just like, am I really going to eat queso? But I want it. So I'm going to say guac, you know,
Okay.
but I want queso. She would order queso and I would be jealous. And then I'd be like, oh man, you got the best
Yours
thing.
is better.
Yeah, that's a trend.
It's a
with
common
us.
thing with
Okay.
us at restaurants is him being healthy and
Yeah.
me getting the actually good food and being
And then
like,
I'm just like, why?
yours is
why
better. I'm like, of course it is.
why did I do that?
You knew that when you ordered. Yeah.
I think best taco. I might go Mas Tacos chicken taco. I mean,
It's a
it's
good
such-
one.
It's
a
really
good
good.
one.
Yeah,
It's a really good one.
that's probably what I say.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit on the first question. There is this Tex-Mex restaurant we love in Austin.
I would like to change my answer.
y'all.
to
called
this,
Matt's
but
El Rancho.
yeah.
I don't know if y'all have been there.
Yeah.
To
That's great.
No,
okay.
but I've heard of
We
it.
Put
want
it on your
to.
Matt's
list.
El
It's
Rancho.
It's not fancy.
It's not hip
my phone, I
or,
need to write it
but
down.
it's amazing.
Matt's El Rancho.
Big
Okay.
tall glasses of plastic, like the
Ice
largest
water filled with
waters.
ice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just-
I thought you were going to
Yeah.
say margarita, but
And
that's
they have
Also
they
that.
have big
Also that.
margaritas.
Yeah,
okay,
that.
good.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, it's fabulous. But they have a dip there called Bob Armstrong dip,
Yep.
which is
It's delicious.
yellow queso with a plop of guac and sour cream and pico and ground beef mixed in at the table.
Very delicious.
That would be my
Good
combo
choice.
of the two. It's kind of just the most amazing dip you've ever had in your life.
it's
Do y'all
incredible.
know they'll do that at Superica?
Really?
Will they
Here.
really?
Yeah. They
I
call
did
it
not do
queso
that.
compuesto.
Wow.
Butchering the way you...
Okay, we need to try that at Super Rica.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
Kathleen always calls it Bob Armstrong.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that's
I don't know
right.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Bob
There you go.
Armstrong dip in
Mhm.
Texas. Yeah, so that would be my ultimate. I mean, I like daydream about that dip,
Do
but
you?
it's good. Yeah, and then my taco pick is probably a little bit of a nostalgia choice, but there's a Mexican restaurant in my hometown called Lolita's, and they've got a breakfast, just sausage, egg, cheese on a flour tortilla dipped in queso. That's
Oh.
probably
queso.
yeah.
Wow.
That's why people like the queso there so much.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, that's probably there's a lot of good tacos in Nashville too, but that's
Yeah.
probably my like nostalgic favorite.
I love that.
That's a good one.
Y'all.
I know.
I mean, every bit as thoughtful, both of you, hopeful, wise as we absolutely knew you would be. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Thanks for having us.
That's
Oh
y'all
my
are really
goodness, you
sweet
too.
to have
Oh,
us.
thank
And
you
yeah,
for
I don't know that
coming.
we have anything to share really, but
Yeah.
y'all are really sweet
Yes,
to
are
invite
you
us.
kidding?
And
Lily's
too.
over there writing down quotes, and have you heard how much she's clicking?
Yeah.
I mean, you've said so many great
So
things.
well,
much.
Yes, so
y'all
much
ask great
truth.
questions, and it's really fun to just get to talk
It's
to y'all
just
for
fun
a
to
while.
get to sit with
yeah,
y'all.
yeah.
When you,
absolutely.
Hillary, when you answered a little bit earlier when I asked the question about music, Ben's career, and you talked about loving that he was offering this beauty and kindness to the world, I was thinking, listening to both of you, like that's what you both are doing in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah,
Offering
you
beauty,
are.
Thank you.
Yeah,
offering beauty, goodness, kindness, and thank you both for who you are in this world, what you're
Yes.
offering, and just giving us this
Amen.
time. It's been a gift to be with you both.
Yeah,
That's super kind of y'all. Thanks for having us.
Grateful.
It's our joy to bring the experience and insight we gain through our work beyond the walls of the Daystar House.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please share it with your friends. And don't forget to click the follow button in your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. To learn more about our parenting resources or to see if we're coming to a city near you, visit our website at raisingboysandgirls.com.
Join us next time for more help and hope as you continue your journey of raising boys and girls.